Yo, yo, yo. What's good? What's good? It's Stormybman, and I am back. Welcoming you to the Friday Night Chop Session with Stormybman for this Friday, May 17th, 2024. And this is number 243 in the series of Chop Sessions. And we are calling this one simply Ring of Fire, the Undisputed Heavyweight title, which will take place tomorrow, May 18th, in Saudi, as Unified Heavyweight Champion Alexander Usyk takes on Tyson Fury, WBC champion, in a unification for Undisputed. After, almost 25 years of a last undisputed champ, Lennox Lewis, the titles will come together to make one name, one face, one champion. So we're on the cusp of this, and we're going to talk about that a little bit this evening, featuring it on this evening's show. There's been so much on Haney and Garcia, Tank Davis, and some of these other sorts out here that I figured that this evening I would allow my platform to focus in on the heavyweight card for tomorrow. It'll be broadcast on DAZN pay-per-view. Some people are looking to endorse, some people are not. Some people will stay away because they don't want to see the two men who are competing for the title. There's no real excitement behind it, but there's always excitement for a heavyweight bout. I caution against robbing yourself of a chance to see two big men get in there and do their thing. I do not believe it will be a stinker, but I also believe that it may not necessarily go how many people feel it may go. And that's the thing to note and take away from all of this with this evening's broadcast. Don't be fooled. There happens to be one man in this contest that is looking to fulfill a legacy. There's another man in this bout that doesn't think very much of legacy and has very little respect for the sport, the combatants in the sport, particularly opponents that face him across the ring. So there could be some fireworks here, you know. So I advise to consider. You know, that's all you have to do is consider. Some of you will do what you do and make it the way that you do, and that's all good. They had the weigh-ins today, and the weigh-ins were interesting to me. Tyson Fury weighed in at 262 pounds. which is down from the high weights that he came in as facing Deontay Wilder in his second and third fights, and his recent fight against Dillian White, Derek Chisora. He was up around the 280s for those bouts. Usyk came in at 223 and a half, which is and it was announced that he came in at 233, but he was 223. This is the thing about it. Usyk has been roughly around 221, 223, 222 in his last few outings. So he's right on the money. Even with delays in training camps and preparation for this, postponements and whatnot, the consummate professional. Fury has been a mixed bag. How he got all that weight off would be interesting to find out. But he has been known to say himself, fighters use weight strippers and all types of diuretics and everything to help them drain down. But why he decided to come down to a more realistic weight of 260 pounds, I find it interesting because he hasn't been there in a long time and he's not comfortable down there. So already Usyk has won a small little battle in just being present as an opponent that makes Fury feel like he may need to do something. Plus his last outing against Francis Ngannou, which found him on the canvas as early as, what was it, the second round, third round, for taking the former MMA striker lightly. He found himself on the canvas and in a battle that some people felt to give the edge to Ngannou in the decision. I don't feel that Ngannou did enough to win that fight, but it was entertaining to see him hang in there with a listless Tyson Fury. So here we have it, and we're getting ready for the showdown. Let me go to the chat, see who we got in the building. We got Mr. Shelton out there saying, yo, Antonio MMA is out there saying, salute, Sensei. Boxing and Barbecue is out there saying, evening, Stormy. Shawalaya is out there saying, blessings, Stormy. Blessings, chat. Boxing and Barbecue is advising to hit the like button. Mind of Mansa Musa is out there saying, salute to the wise one, the Sensei. Yeah. What's good with you? And Mike 202 is in the building with those channel emojis saying blessings, Sensei, and chat. Right back at you. And Shawa says, I ain't missing Ja. I like Frank Sanchez as well. Why'd I get tongue-tied over Frank's name? I don't know. And she says, kindly hit the like button. Yeah, that's what's up. We're going to talk about this a little bit tonight. You know, the Ring of Fire. It was supposed to originally take place back in February, you guys. And had it done so, we would have already an undisputed champ. And we could be working on the rematch because it is a 2-fight deal that these guys have signed. And we could have got the second fight before the end of the year. But everyone knows that Tyson Fury is not noted to follow the rules of the sport. And he always does things, causes delays and reschedulings and whatnot, especially against top-notch opponents, or those who would be considered top-notch. It's just more of the same for him. And let me just say it plainly. When you talk about Fury, you always have to consider who he is. The fighter, the man. He's not the most cooperative sort, that the sport has seen. He is always running awry. But Usyk, on the other hand, is the consummate professional. This is reminding me a lot about like when Evander Holyfield was chasing the heavyweight crown coming up from cruiserweight, having defeated a few heavyweight contenders, and found himself facing James Buster Douglas for the heavyweight undisputed title. History could repeat itself, people, tomorrow. Though Tyson Fury is a heavy favorite, something just speaks to me that it may not be that easy for Tyson Fury. To what most know, Usyk will be the best fighter that Fury has faced in his career. The most decorated, the most accomplished. And let's just recall that even in the amateurs, Fury wasn't, much of a menace or threat. In the pros, he has had and enjoyed a most guided career. And now he's facing someone that he can't get in the guy's head. The insults and everything, the language barrier assists a great deal for Usyk. And he's like, he's just ready to fight. He doesn't care what Fury has to say or any of his behaviors or anything. So, the most that he could do to Usyk at this point in juncture is just be who he is. The cocaine cowboy, huh? That's who he is, really. And Usyk is a clean living man, God-fearing man, the real sort. Not out of sorts like Fury. And, I'm here to tell you, when you go for a sure thing, it ain't the Gypsy King, huh? Yeah. Uh-huh. That's right, Shower. That's the guy. That's the guy they wanted over Wilder. That's who they wanted, huh? But look at that. That's exact. Look. If you want me down on the ground, okay. Yeah. That's the real deal right there. Yep, Mr. Shelton. Exactly. And when I think about it, this is me right here.
Man, this is some bullshit.
Yeah. Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yep. But we're going to talk about it a little bit this evening. We're going to talk about it a little bit. Huh? And for those of you that don't like to tune in to Stormy's breakdowns and whatnot, you know, it's okay. Because I've done a little something, as I've been known to do in the past, you know. I've done a little something. And I want you to pay attention. Because I'm going to share it with you guys. And I may open my phone lines up. No, Shelton, it's not going to be boring. See, I'm going to tell you something. Remember who you're speaking with right now. You're speaking with me. Okay? I'm not one of these guys out here that, listen, this is not going to be a boring fight. It's not. It may not be who you want to see. Understand that, and that's totally a given. That's possible that neither of these guys are anyone that you want to see. But boring? No. The two fights that Usyk had with AJ were not boring fights. AJ in 24 rounds couldn't figure this man out. And AJ is only like 2 inches shorter than Tyson Fury. Punches harder, is more athletic. He's not as cunning and beguiling as Tyson Fury. But Usyk, you could see in both fights against AJ, fought at a certain level. And that if AJ threatened that level, Usyk was capable of rising beyond where he was. Very interesting. But you could check it out.
Amidst what appears to be not a lot of attention or even fanfare, Tyson Fury and Alexander Usyk are set for an undisputed showdown on Saturday, May 18th. This fight will finally, after 20 plus years, bring together the heavyweight title. Let's talk about it.
It's a badass intro for Wilder, by the way.
After many delays and a postponement due to a cut in training, on Saturday, May 18th, Tyson Fury and Alexander Usyk will finally come together to unify the heavyweight championship for an undisputed champion. This is a fight that has been anticipated, but not necessarily highly revered or even talked about, because both men at the top of the division have different sorts of personalities and backgrounds that don't necessarily advertise as must-see. However, when the two of them come together to compete for this place in history, it is going to be a contrast of not only personalities, but styles that bring them to this championship opportunity. Fury's entering with his record of 34-0 with 1 draw and 24 KOs. Usyk is entering with his record of 21-0 with 14 KOs. Think about it like this. Fury has been, as advertised, the best big man in boxing as far as his height, the weight that he carries, and the reach and strength. He is not necessarily entering this fight as the most gifted between the two boxers. That would go to Alexander Usyk, who has shown himself to be, from the amateurs to turning professional in the cruiserweight division and becoming undisputed there, to now a unified heavyweight champion. It has always been a story for the heavyweight division that the best of the big men have typically come from around that light heavyweight to heavyweight division, the in-between. Joe Louis was 6 foot, 180 pounds plus 190. Muhammad Ali, when he turned pro, he was like 206 to 208 pounds and went all the way up to 212, 215. Evander Holyfield, who started out at junior heavyweight, became undisputed cruiserweight champion of the world and then undisputed heavyweight champion of the world, 5-time heavyweight champion of the world. So this match is going to see these two men come in. Fury, in his last outing against Francis Ngannou, many people felt he took Ngannou lightly, didn't train as hard as he should have, and the effects of that were shown during the match. He found himself down early in the fight and struggled to go on to win a very highly contested decision. However, what he also did in this fight was he won a fight that he could have lost, and that has to do something for confidence and motivation factor, because now he will enter this fight with something to prove. But the only problem is the person that he's going in to prove against happens to be the #1 heavyweight in the world, according to the performances in Alexander Usyk. He has established himself being a southpaw, 6'3", and roughly around 220 plus pounds. If you consider his previous performances, just as when he fought Daniel Dubois, Usyk can make adjustments on the fly during a fight. He is able to control the distance of his fights with his southpaw jab and his lead foot, which he never leans over in front of that front knee, and he's able to use the mobility of his footwork, a lot like what Dmitry Bivol does at 168 pounds. In fact, some of their footwork is mirroring in their stylistic manner of fighting. There is a way to defeat that easily. However, I don't know that Tyson Fury has the flexibility to be able to do so. Both fighters have incurred knockdowns recently. Fury against Ngannou saw himself on the canvas, having to rise and recognize that he was in against a threat that he made dangerous, not necessarily Ngannou. Taking a fighter lightly, this is what can happen. Fury was not hurt in that situation, only his pride and ego. As I stated earlier, he got up and managed to go on to secure a win with the assistance of some of the judges, and Ngannou not knowing or having the experience to know how to finish a fight strong in order to give favor and decisions. Against Dubois, there was a controversial circumstance where Dubois hit what appeared to be low on the belt line for Usyk that sent him to the canvas writhing in pain. But as the referee took the time out to acknowledge it as a low blow, Usyk was able to do as much as he could to milk the time. Personally, I had always professed that if it had been scored a body shot knockdown, he would have gotten up inside of a count with the ref. But being that he was fighting, I believe it was in Poland at that time, and he was able to milk the crowd and everything, going on to finish Dubois with a later round stoppage after Dubois was not mentally strong to pull through those circumstances that he faced during that fight. These two men, as I stated earlier, have contrasting styles. Fury is an outboxer, believe it or not, and he can do things physically that some big heavyweights such as he can't get away with. His footwork is quite nimble. He can punch in combination, though he hasn't done it in a while, in a few fights. And he doesn't have one-punch knockout power, but he's strong because of his size and his build, his frame. From what I've seen, it looks like he's dropped a ton of weight to come into this fight, and he may be looking to box Usyk, having dropped all of those pounds, and look to be faster than he has been as of recent memory. But the thing about it is, he can't outbox Alexander Usyk. Usyk is the most solid boxer between the two of them. So this coming Saturday, the 18th, is going to be a fight where we get a chance to see who can bring the best out. And I'm here to say that I actually believe that history is on the side for Alexander Usyk. I think he's going to repeat the feats of Evander Holyfield and become an undisputed champion from both the cruiserweight and the heavyweight divisions in boxing. And if he doesn't, he still has had a great run, but that's who I think. But what do you think? This is Stormybman. Shout out to the Nite, LDBC, and Liberated Perspective.
Yo! So, that was my little video on the fight, my little breakdown. Now, as I was, listening to the playback of it, some of you have seen it already. Thank you for tuning in. But one of the things I try to do here is try to assist people with how to look at boxing. And it is a really tough haul because we have other people out here who share a platform and their personal feelings and emotions and things like that, and they don't know a damn thing about the sport of boxing. Even though they may have friends that are participating in the sport, even though they may have had professionals come on their platform and stuff like that. But this is the thing. When it comes down to skill set, when it comes down to being able to be technically proficient, when it comes down to having a complete arsenal and dimension of application when it comes to the sport of boxing with your abilities, there are very few at the top of the sport who have that. And as I was discussing with the brother Drew Titan earlier today, one of the things that people get away with is being wallflowers. A lot of people can align themselves on the wall, and they hold their trinkets with them and everything, but they don't get center ring. They don't challenge themselves with who's out there to challenge them, and vice versa. And as long as it continues to go on like that, what will happen is you will not have a definitive revelation of who's on top and who's not. And a lot of these men of this present era are are content with that. For shame. Because it seems like those who do want to try to rise above that apathetic approach and that sense of contentment, there's a lot of resentment toward those fighters who do that. And the names are familiar. Various weight classes, but they incur the same wrath from these fair-weathered supporters who only want to see who they like or who they throw their support behind to remain undefeated, remain unchallenged. But when you flip the script and you look at who they're fighting, how many of them have faced a fighter on paper that it's a pick 'em? It's like you don't really know who's going to win, so the fight has to take place. Not very many. Not very many of these guys. And you could call them elite, you could call them top level, top notch, but they're not providing you with the answers. There were fighters from previous eras who lived to try to prove to themselves, if not the public and the masses, that they are the man. Where did that go? I'll tell you where it went. It went the same place where common sense and the knack of using intellect to think things through and to resolve problems and conflicts and so forth. It's these guys of today who would rather pick up a weapon and harm somebody than to put their dukes up, afraid of taking a butt whooping. You see, it's the same. They don't want to take a butt whooping. Why? Is it that they not had their hides tanned when they were growing up? Or was it that someone was always saving them? My baby ain't never did nothing to nobody. Don't you talk to my baby like that. I know my baby brought his homework to school. It must be one of these other kids that's doing such, so forth and such. Oh, yeah. I don't need no man to help me raise my baby. Oh? So your baby grows up and he don't even want to face challenges. He doesn't even want to be in a group where someone can be better than him. Because he had an F on his paper. The teacher don't like me. No, fool. You didn't do the studying. Huh? Because Auntie didn't make you study. And there was nobody who put their foot in your butt, giving you a ulterior motive to say, hey, if you either do this or you get this. See, they do grow up to become adults, you guys. They do. Yeah. And some of them, if they participate in professional sports, can get all the way along the lines to the pro level, impregnating thoughts, adult film stars, and everything of the sort, because, you know, the professional cash flow gives them access that wasn't there before. But where was the mind to be able to deal with what life has to offer? My Tuesday tussle, I talk about boxing and real life being a marriage of a union of, you know, there's quite similar. It's an ongoing war, but there are battles being met at every turn. There are people who like Tyson Fury because he's not the Gypsy King, but he's a fuck-up king. Have you seen how the man dresses? But he's a multimillionaire now. And he still looks like shit when he walks out of the house. And if he does happen to wear a tailored outfit, it's not becoming. I said it because it's true. And why? Because he's 6'7", that people think that, oh, you shouldn't say that. What does he say about other people? And how disrespectful is he of others? I'll wait. Usyk is a man of faith. He has a family. And because he doesn't speak fluent English yet, he's improved remarkably over the past couple of years, particularly since he's moved up to the heavyweight division. I give him credit because he's attempting. But he's not bad-mouthing anybody. He's not talking gibberish. He's not slamming people or anything like that. He shows up on the fight night and performs. But don't be dissuaded by people who are ignorant and bigoted and biased and prejudiced. I talk about that all the time. Because something is unfamiliar with you doesn't mean that it's not good or can't possibly be good. How many times have you had someone introduce you to something simply like a meal or some type of a treat or delicacy that you've never had? You might have seen it, but like, oh, I don't think I want that. I don't want to try that. But they say, hey, man, come on, try this. And you try it and you're like, oh, my God, this is what I've been missing? Yeah, it's just like that. But you need someone to help you see the light. You need someone to help open your mind up, not keep it closed and locked. Because if it's closed and locked, nothing can be absorbed and nothing can be discarded. Hello. I'm going to open up my phone line tonight. I want to hear some people call in and talk about this fight, their thoughts on it. Because even judging from some of the comments that I see in the chat, very shallow, very short-sighted, lacking elevated thought process. Yeah. I remember when Tyson went to Tokyo to fight Buster Douglas back in February of 1990. He was what was Buster? He was a 49-1 underdog or something like that. Some ridiculous odd. But Buster has something that always troubled Tyson: height, reach, athleticism, jab, agility, and movement. There were several fighters who he had already faced that had given him those sorts of trouble. Mitch Blood Green, James Quick Tillis, James Bone Crusher Smith, Tony TNT Tucker. All of those men were at least 6'3" or taller, at least an 80-inch reach, were mobile, had decent jabs. James Buster Douglas, 6'4", 80-inch reach, mobile, tremendous jab of the Larry Holmes type ilk. People like to align that, oh, Buster won that because his mother passed away and everything. He still had to fight the fight. He still had to fight the fight. And don't forget, Tyson knocked him down. He got up and finished the fight. In fact, the round after the knockdown, he got up, came out for that round, and beat the crap out of Tyson even more in that very next round. I remember Buster speaking about seeing Tyson at the first presser that they had. He said, I thought I was going to run into this guy who was just a mountain of a man who was, everybody was afraid and intimidated. He was like, but all I saw was a short man. Yeah. And Buster's mom hadn't passed yet. And she told him, I don't know about you fighting this guy. I don't want you to fight this guy. He was like, Mom, don't worry. He was like, I'm going to kick his ass. And that was before his mom passed away. He didn't know his mom was going to pass away. She wasn't sick like that. Her passing was sudden. And lastly, Tyson never pursued a rematch with Buster. Never did. That speaks volumes. So you could be biased. You could like who you like. But like what you like, but learn about what you don't like. Learn about what you don't know. So you can have a sense of all-encompassing understanding and comprehension so that your assessments can be solid and don't sound like those people that BFTB was talking to yesterday. Huh? I see some of y'all in the chat here who was in his chat yesterday. Did you hear those fools when he was asking them why you love Tank, why you support Tank? And they couldn't give him concrete responses to articulate thoughts. Some of them even from Tank's hometown. Foolishness. Couple years back, 78 invited me on this platform. We were talking about the Vasil Lomachenko Teofimo Lopez fight. He was asking me to give my thoughts and break down the fight. And I told him how I thought that Loma would, handle the fight and everything. And he said to me, It's probably still on his channel, that show. He said, man, Stormy, you making me think. He's like, I might change my decision, because I think he was going with Teofimo or whatever. But I was speaking positively in favor of Lomachenko and gave an assessment why proper. Now, we know now in the aftermath that Lomachenko lost a decision to Teofimo, but no one foresaw him coming out for the first 5 or 6 rounds and not really throwing punches. No one saw that at all. Had we had seen a performance like that prior, then my assessment of things could have been different. But you learn from what you're able to witness, what you experience, and you file it in a data bank where it becomes a part of your knowledge to apply in the future. This is the whole thing about that. I could speak and give acknowledgement whether I support the fighter or not, whether they are someone that I'm fond of or not. And it doesn't have an iota of bias. But if I were to get biased, I can even substantiate why my bias is strong. I can articulate what the bias means to strip away at someone that needs stripping. And oh, there's a few of them out there that need stripping. But see, that's when you're looking at things through a different scope, a different lens. You won't get it the way you get it here when you talk about boxing breakdowns, because I keep it mild most of the time. 80% of the time, I keep it mild. I get enriched with detail when I speak person to person with my brothers close in the community, when we talk behind the scenes. They get the real. What I put up online, on the air, on my channel, the videos and stuff, that's like so I can put some content out there for you guys, because the majority of you couldn't handle it. You'd be so crying and everything that you wouldn't know which way to turn, huh? There's far more to this sport than you could dream. And some of the things that go on behind the scenes, you have no idea. Just think about it. In the super middleweight division presently, there are 4 belts with a unified champion holding them. There are number 1 contenders for those belts, and that champion has yet to defend against any of those number 1 contenders over the past 3 years. How is that possible? But they want to call him the face of boxing, the disgrace of boxing, the ass of boxing, as I've referred to him as, because these men who have toiled and done what they've had to do for their careers, and now they get to this particular junction and they do not pass go here with that guy sitting there, and they're talking about bringing another cream puff up for him to face. Where are your videos on that? Where are the memes? Where are the discussions and talks and countless live streams, putting him down. Queen 71, what's good with you? I see you out there, Queen. John Pounds, what's good? Jimmy Bernard, what's happening with you? Kamara, the stepping razor, is out there. What's happening? KG, what's happening with you, bro? Steph Brown. You see, and what I tell you today, I can tell you tomorrow, next week, next month, next year. I can even a couple of years from now defer back to this video live, because that's called retention. When you understand that what you're saying has merit and is founded in the real of truth, that's what you defer to, not BS, not just being on one tonight, huh? Not just being, oh, you had a good show of entertaining. I do this because I want to, not because I have to. I've turned down opportunities to work with professionals, turned them down. Like you turn your collar down, like you turn your bed covers back. Yeah. But I have a conscience. I can sleep at night well. I haven't sold out. That's why when I'm on in the Strong House on Sunday nights, with Drew Titan and Trick Nolte, and they bring the people on and we have discussions with these guys. That's why I can have head up, straight up conversations with them, because I know. I've been there. I can do that. I'm not flamboyant, but I'm capable. The knowledge is real. It always has been. There were seniors far advanced than me asking me, young man, where you get that knowledge from? What God places in your hand, no man can remove. Like I said, call-in line is open. Use it. Let's have a conversation. Don't be shy. Use the third eye. Bars. That was simply me checking the call-in line to make sure it worked. I want to hear from someone. This is not to embarrass anybody. This is not even to strut. It's to have conversation. It's a big fight tomorrow. Nobody wants to discuss it. It says we got 26 likes, but over 70-something people have viewed the show this evening. See the imbalance there? See the imbalance? Foolishness. Why are you tuning in if you're tuning out? An oxymoron. Foolishness. We got 804 in the building. I think that's my man KG. What's happening?
That's exactly who it is. What's going on, Stormy? How you feeling tonight?
I'm feeling great, man. I'm feeling great. You know, wanted to talk about this fight card tomorrow because I knew other people wouldn't be doing it. See, I don't channel and brain share like most do, and that's not to put anybody down, but it's like I said before. You know, if you want to profess to know what you're talking about, then be studied up on it. You know what I'm saying?
Exactly.
Haven't we discussed Garcia and Haney enough, Tank Davis enough, and people like, it's like there's other things going on in the world. We could be talking about something happening outside the U.S. as long as you talk about something, but people are very short-sighted. But I cast my eyes high amongst the heavens, bro. But welcome all the same.
You know me, Stormy. I just love boxing.
Yeah.
Especially current boxing and trying to keep up with it. And like you said, we talk so much about this particular fighter, that particular fighter. We got kids them coming up behind. You know who I love now? I love Abdullah Mason. Like
Yes.
kids like that. We need to be looking back because boxing ages 5 years, like in a year, every cycle.
Listen.
So we need to be looking back at these younger kids that are coming up.
It's interesting that you say that because starting, I would say, about 4 months ago, I started talking like that. I said, and it's because of I see the talent that's coming up. And I said that these guys today, right now, who are not willing to sacrifice and make a move and make commitments and so forth, their careers are going to pass them by. And just like in a college draft for the NFL and sometimes the NBA, I say sometimes with the NBA, but definitely with the NFL, every year there's a new draft, right? And there's new talent coming in all the time. So if somebody ain't cutting the mustard, they get cut, right?
Quick.
And that new talent comes right in. And it's getting ready to happen in boxing because you have a group that is presently within the age ranges of like 26 to 32. And those people, because of the fights that they haven't made, the moves that they haven't made, the choices and paths that they haven't taken, they're getting ready to get passed up by this new wave of fighters. And some of these guys in the new wave, they want legacy. Some of them want to cut their teeth. Some of them are chomping at the bit to prove themselves because they could see the weaknesses ahead of them. They see it. It's just like anything in life. When there's something weak and it's in the way, something of strength comes along and pushes it out of the way. Am I right? That's just a natural thing in life. And you can see it. You mentioned Abdullah Mason. I talked about Raymond Ford. There's so many of these young guys, dude. I like Oshaki Foster, you know, because the brother, he has proven himself. It's not like he's had cakewalks after cakewalks. They've been putting him in so tough, trying to get him to lose, and all he's done is rise to the occasion.
Mm-hmm.
But if you look on my channel, you'll see me talking about these guys, making videos on them and their fights. I talk about them. I don't see all these big channels talking about them. I don't see these so-called professed, full of knowledge boxing experts.
Mm-hmm.
It's a bunch of foolishness. The one thing that I enjoyed when we were all together a few weeks ago and we were watching the Canelo and Munguia thing, I love the things that you were saying, because see, you and I complimented you. I said you're looking at it through the proper lens. See, you're looking at the boxing because
I appreciate it.
Listen, Archie Moore was famous for this, saying this line. Archie Moore said he saw two men. He was walking down the street and he passed the alley and he saw two men fighting in the alley, and they were really going at it really tough. And he stood there and watched them until they got tired of punching each other and everything. And then he looked and he turned away and shook his head and said, "Beautiful." That was Archie Moore, man. And he was talking about the whole thing of it was like two men expressing themselves physically. You understand? Yeah. And that's a man thing. That's not something that women would understand. That's not something that chumps would understand. Huh?
No.
They wouldn't. But see, when you get to the essence of talking about it for what it is, that's why I corrected Mr. Shelton earlier. I know you came into the chat later, but I didn't know if you heard me when I corrected Mr. Shelton earlier when he was saying this going to be a boring fight. I said, no, Mr. Shelton. This ain't going to be a
weekend?
Huh?
The fight this weekend?
Yeah, he's saying that Fury and Usyk is going to be a boring fight.
No.
That's not going to be. No. Tell him now. No. You give your insight, KG, of why you think it's not going to be a boring fight. Because I gave mine already.
Okay. The way I see this fight, I said this on Supreme Beast Boxing Talk maybe 2 years ago. I think it might have been the first Wilder and the first fight, the very first fight, and I think Fury came in like 267, 268, something like that.
Right.
After that fight, I said this specifically to my fellas. I said, if they run it back, Fury's gonna come in heavier. And they said, why? I said, just watch. And he sure enough came in heavier, and then he came in even heavier in that third fight.
Yeah.
This fight, he's coming in light, and I don't like it.
Uh-huh.
Because if he came in any lighter against Wilder in that first fight, he would have been literally dead when he got dropped.
Yeah.
Not got back up.
Right.
So him getting on the scale at 262, it made me then kind of look at it a little sideways, because I say this, and this is my opinion, as far as a heavyweight boxer, Tyson Fury is the best pure boxer, in my opinion, when it comes to what he can do, when he knows how to stay away. And he has the mindset to make the fight boring, where he'll lay on you, play the little dirty games, where the referee call him in the gray area, where he'll have to 50-50 if it's a foul or not. He, like I said, he's been around it enough to know to pull these dirty tactics in the ring and get away with it. So, as far as boxing with his jab, being fleet of foot at that size, and I said if he could translate to any division, as long as he's the biggest person in that division, he should be able to hold frame. But if he loses weight and if he's anything under 270, that's why I feel Tyson Fury is vulnerable. And I think he came in too light. And I looked at Usyk and I said, Usyk is 233. I said, Usyk looks solid. When they got into his face and he tried to push Usyk, Usyk barely moved and Fury went backwards.
Well, surprise, Usyk is actually 223. It was a misreading on the scale.
Oh, it was a misread?
Yep, he's 223. His typical weight, what he normally is. It was a misreading.
So he's a solid 223 right now.
Yep.
So, but when I seen Fury get up in his face and I seen nervous energy in Fury when he pushed him and he barely budged Usyk. Usyk only went back because his people jumped in between.
Usyk has a resolve that people are overlooking.
Yes.
It's something quite similar, and I've tried to allude to it to others. They're just not hearing me, though. It's reminiscent of Evander, because everybody's thinking he's too small. Everybody's thinking that he is like, he's not strong, don't have a big punch or whatever. He damn near knocked AJ out in that first fight.
Yep.
They ended the round early, if you remember. That last round when AJ was fading and everything, and he was on top of AJ mentally, AJ was crumbling, and he was ready to go down, and they rang the bell almost 10 seconds too early.
Yep.
So,
I remember that.
So what I'm saying here is this. You say that Fury is the best boxer. Now, I'll disagree with that simply because of this. What saves Fury is his extremities. He's got very long arms.
Yeah.
But he's not 6'9". I wish they would stop telling that damn lie. He's really like 6'7", maybe an inch taller than Deontay. But he's not 6'9". But he's got these very long arms, 80-plus inch reach, very long arms.
I like his flick jab. Those a nice flick jab. That, you know what I'm saying? It's not hard, but it keeps his opponents alert.
Yeah, but outside of that, there are some things about him that he is very vulnerable, and I've talked about this.
Oh, yes,
do you realize that Fury is knock-kneed and slew-footed?
Yep.
Why hasn't anyone exploited that?
All that from the soles of his feet up. I know all his discrepancies, but if he boxes and stays on the outside, there's not many boxers, heavyweight boxers right now that's in the division that can close that distance.
Right, because there's not enough guys who have been taught technically. They haven't been taught the proficiency in that aspect of the sport. There's a lot of guys, and you hear me talk about that all the time. I was like, who's coaching these guys? It's like they are ridiculously underprepared for boxing matches. However, he's going in tomorrow against the most decorated and most accomplished fighter he's ever faced in his career.
And I feel the same way. Because
it's a fact. That's not even a feeling. That's a fact.
That's a pure defect.
Yeah.
Look, the dance moves that Fury knows how to do that people can't gonna keep up with. Usyk knows those dance moves and maybe even better.
Exactly.
So his feet are always going to be moving. So I like Usyk in this fight because his feet are always going to be moving. He has proper footwork. He can step in, slip out.
Leverage, angles.
Yeah.
He doesn't get hit solidly a lot. He might catch a punch or two here and there, but he doesn't get hit solidly a lot. That's a very good thing. One thing about my guy, Evander used to take some shots sometimes. Once he found out that he had a real chin, he seemingly didn't mind sometimes. But Usyk is not that kind of guy. And earlier, people in the chat were talking about, his fight against Dubois, and he went down from the body shot and everything. I've already said what I said about that. And again, I don't know what your reading on it is, but this is what I got from that situation. Usyk milked the situation. He milked it out of a low blow situation. It was a good body shot, and it could have been a body shot that dropped him, and he would have gotten up if the ref would have issued a count. But the ref didn't issue a count. The ref called it a low blow. So he sat there, and he took his time, and he got himself together. He gets up, and then later he stops Dubois. Now, Dubois' fault was not trying to jump on him after the fight finally resumed, after the break. But that's not Usyk's fault. That's Dubois' fault. And
Dubois' fault, because you know why? You and me both, Stoney, would have said the same thing when he came to that corner. When you get back out there, hit him with the same shot.
Yeah, absolutely. But I'm going to tell you something. Even in that type of situation, Usyk, I believe, is capable enough of having to make another adjustment to the situation.
Yes.
You see what I'm saying? You remember when they were telling AJ in the rematch of him, you got to go to his body and all of that. Remember they were saying that?
Yep.
Every time AJ got in there to try to go to his body, he took shots to the head.
Yep.
See, people don't think about these things.
And you remember that fight, Stormy? Remember I said I like Fury's flick jab? I like Usyk's jab because he gets you drunk off of if he's throwing it underneath. And then you get so drunk off of it that a jab comes over the top. He does it precisely because he'll have you looking for it to come underneath.
Yeah.
Because he's had you so drunk off it coming underneath, and he'll get it over the top, and then the feet will still move, and he'll touch you with another punch. Like I said, Fury's going to have a serious issue with this guy tomorrow.
Yeah, and check this out. Nobody really knows this because there ain't nobody been paying attention. But Stormy been doing his research. They've been saying the Usyk side of media coverage and everything, they've been saying that he has been sparring heavily right-handed. Now, we know he's a southpaw, right?
Yeah.
Uh-oh.
Yep.
Uh-oh. Because that's a wrinkle ain't nobody seen. And he's doing it for Fury? Listen, bro. What that tells me is he intends to catch Fury in between changing up. Because, you know, Fury will like to try to turn southpaw for certain advantages and stuff like that from time to time.
A nice straighter frees that up.
Listen,
on that switch.
Exactly. This is what I'm talking about. And lastly, let me say this about Alexander Usyk. Usyk is, let me go to my stats here. Usyk is 6'3" with a 78-inch reach. Now, Fury has an 85-inch reach. But the consensus has always been between 6 foot to 6'3" have been your best heavyweights in history. The consensus has been that. That has been the range about the best guys. Ali was 6'3". Larry Holmes was 6'3". Evander Holyfield was 6'2.5". You know, George Foreman was 6'3.5". You know, we're talking about Joe Louis was 6 foot. Some of your best guys have been right within that range. Why? Because there's something about the athletic coordination and agility that these men have in those dimensions. And sometimes when guys are longer, when they have height and even a lack of height, those things can be used against them if the other fighters, coaches, and trainers are teaching them properly. Remember, when you had Emmanuel Stewart had guys fighting a certain kind of way. And he had them fighting in the best manner of which their talents and their extremities and everything worked for them. Cus D'Amato had Mike Tyson in the peekaboo style and the crouch, because Tyson was barely 5'10". He was like 5'9.5", 5'10", right? He wasn't 5'11". He was nowhere near 5'11". Still ain't.
No.
But the idea and objective was to get him to crouch even more, because he had good fast twitch muscles, and if he could spring out of those crouches with his power, he could hurt people because he was fast. So you get him to crouch more, and guys are punching down at him. Guess when you punch down, what's open?
Your damn chin.
Your chin.
Yeah, so I get to explode up.
But Tyson would do things differently when he was really good. He would devastate you with combination punches to the body, and then finish with the shot up top. See, that's what people always remember him knocking somebody out. They remember the last punch that landed on a guy. But Tyson usually that body head, or that body head body combination that he would throw, and then sometimes springing up out of that crouch with an uppercut or a hook. You know, the thing was, he was throwing shots where your openings would be, or he would throw a shot to make you open up for the other shot to land. That's teaching, bro. That's not something that happens by osmosis. It's not something that a guy just walks in the ring knowing to do. You're trained to do those things. And so when you hear me say, where is the teaching today? You don't get a lot of it. Some guys are fighting off of their talent and athleticism alone. And they're not being trained to do certain things. Georgie Benton, when he was back working with Lou Duva in main events, and they had all those guys off the Olympic team from '84, training those guys, Mel, Sweet Pea, Evander, all them guys, Tyrell Biggs. One of the things he talked about was, Georgie Benton said that my job is to teach styles and how to beat styles. I haven't heard a coach say that since Georgie Benton. To teach styles and how to beat styles. You hear guys on the air now saying, oh, this guy's style is all wrong for him. You're a fighter. There should be no such thing as a style being wrong for you. It's the shortcoming of your teaching or your teacher that makes it wrong for you, because you're supposed to know what to do. I've talked on my air about when somebody throws a punch, that's the best time to hit them because they're wide open. You're supposed to know what the counter punch to the punch that they're throwing is to be thrown. If you don't know that, then you're not being taught properly. So if a guy has fast hands, what are you supposed to do with a guy with fast hands? Speed is measured by what? The distance that it travels, right?
Yep, exactly.
He can't run fast combinations off on you if you're in his chest, can he?
Nope.
But if you're at mid-range to distance, he can. You see what I'm saying? This is why it's called the sweet science, brother. It's called the sweet science because what's applicable here are elements of dimensions and distance and leverage and things of that nature. Those are scientific elements. So when you got somebody just talking BS boxing, but they can't really apply what's supposed to be there because they don't understand it to that depth, that's how you know they ain't real, bro. I talk about this stuff all the time. I can do it in my sleep. If a guy is powerful, you're not supposed to be in there trying to measure your strength against his. That's when you're supposed to use your speed and your elusiveness.
Actually, boxing.
Yes.
Boxing. If you're not boxing, you should start boxing at that point.
Yes. So all these people thinking that Fury should bully Usyk and he should lean on him, and he should not want to get close to Usyk at all. He should not.
He's not going to be able to, even if I don't, cause like I said, with the footwork of Usyk, he's not going to stand still for him to lay on him. Everybody else, like I said, they don't have the footwork like that to keep up with them, with Fury and his sleupness that he's able to still dance around, and they damn feet are still sliding around, plodding around.
If you listen to my breakdown video that I released this morning, I said that there's something awfully familiar about the footwork of Usyk and Dmitry Bivol. Now, Dmitry Bivol is given tons of credit for his footwork, isn't he?
Mm-hmm.
What's the difference? Now, close your eyes and think about the two fighters. Aren't their footwork similar?
Yeah.
With one exception, though. Usyk is better.
Yeah.
And see, that's the thing. People don't want to give him credit for what he's done. Why? Is it because he's from the Ukraine? I don't know. Is it because he's a Caucasian man? I don't know. But what I can say is, if you want to tell me that Vasyl Lomachenko is all that they try to say about him, he ain't even as decorated as Alexander Usyk as a professional. They have similar amateur background, but Usyk's professional background is better, and he's fought at bigger divisions than Loma. So where's the fucking boxing knowledge at then? Do you see what I'm saying?
I understand.
This is what frustrates the hell out of me, because I am not blowing smoke. I'm putting all practicality before you and making you see that, listen, there's something to be looked at here. There's something to be looked at, but many people are not seeing it. Now, does that mean that he's going to go out and whoop Tyson Fury's ass? I hope so. Because Fury could still win the fight. Yes. But I'm just saying that given what you give of the fighters and the acknowledgments of the fighters, people need to start looking deeper than what they're seeing, scratching the surfaces.
They're scared to go down that rabbit hole, son.
They are. Yeah.
Because then they'll find out they'll really start loving the actual science to boxing and not the gimmick of what they are being sold.
Yeah. And that's why they will never understand the Archie Moore story that I told just a moment ago. Because, see, Archie Moore had an appreciation for, these things. Did you know when George Foreman came back, Archie Moore was a part of his professional career before he retired. But when he came back, he brought Archie Moore back with him. And that's where that crab arm defense came from. And that's also where George began to use the leverage and his strength. He built his arms up so that he could protect his body more. He didn't build his arms up because he was just enjoying weight training. No, George had a method to the madness. He realized that he liked being over 240-something pounds. So he built his arms up to help protect his body. And he used the crab arm defense. That's why when you would hit him on his arms and everything, it didn't bother him. Because he was accustomed, he was built to last in that regard. And you couldn't really get to the rest of the body because of the girth of his arms and everything. You know, how he was built and how he was taught how to use the crab defense. See, that's teaching. That's Archie Moore in his, what was he, in his 80s or something when he was working with George during that time? It's like, dude, that's
late 70s.
Yeah, that's amazing stuff. But nobody looks at that. But that's exactly what that is. Teaching. And Evander fought better when he had Georgie Benton in his corner. Now, I know that Georgie eventually passed away, but Evander had stopped working with main events and stuff at a certain point in his heavyweight career. But one of the things that Evander was like very precise at was counterpunching. He was one of the best counterpunchers in the sport, even when he was at cruiserweight. That's where he got a lot of his knockouts and knockdowns, by countering a guy. When he knocked out Dwight Muhammad Qawi in their rematch, Qawi was backing up near the ropes, and he was getting ready to load up and throw a right hand, and Evander threw his first. Hit him on the chin and knocked him down, and Qawi just rolled over on the canvas. It was like he didn't see that right hand coming. It was this fight against Mike Tyson when he hit Mike with a counter right hand in that 10th round of their fight and knocked Mike clean across the ring. Against George Foreman, I think it was in the 7th round or the 10th round against George Foreman, with about 20 seconds to go in the fight. George loaded up a right hand and threw it at Evander, and Evander hit him with his first. Counter right hand. And George fell forward into Evander's shoulders, and Evander began to swarm him, and the bell rang to stop that round. He almost stopped George in that round. See, the thing is, the counter punch, that's a shot, like I've said earlier in this discussion. It's like if somebody is throwing a certain shot and you can time it, or you know what's happening, if you know the proper shot to throw, because they're open, they're wide open, and you know that shot to throw, that's how you get guys. It's not just, oh, he's so powerful, he hit a guy with a shot upside the head and knocked him out. No, it's a lot of times it's placement and it's timing. It's a lot that goes into it, you know.
It's almost like a light switch then, Stormy. So soon as you throw a punch, and I'll be like, well, he's throwing a straight. Let me throw my left hook off of that.
Yeah.
Because I can catch him off of that, slipping off of his straight. I know exactly. Like I said, once I pick up your timing and the way I understood his counters to be, it was just like a straight reflex. You throw and you look to explode right back.
Listen, man, we know how great a coach and trainer Eddie Futch was, right?
Mm-hmm.
I got a story for you. Eddie Futch was in his early 80s. He was trying to find a parking spot, and he was going shopping somewhere, and he pulled up to a place to park, and some young guy was like, hey, old man, that was my parking spot and everything. And he was arguing at Eddie, and Eddie parked his car and he got out. He was getting ready to go in the store, and the young man came up on him, and he was talking shit to Eddie Futch. He didn't know Eddie Futch was who he was, but not that should make a difference, because you shouldn't be trying to, intimidate or impose yourself on an elderly person. But the young man was talking crap, and Eddie didn't back down from him. And the young man went to try to throw a punch at Eddie Futch. And Eddie Futch hit him with a jab and knocked him cold. A jab.
Yeah.
Knocked a man out that was 40 years younger than him. Okay? But this is what I'm talking about. Because when you know what you're doing, it don't matter your age.
No, it don't.
It don't. And that was a lesson. But see, again, when I talk to you, like I'm talking to you and I'm enjoying this conversation I'm having with you, because you understand a lot of what I'm saying. But this is what I be talking about when I say I can talk about boxing. You understand? It's like I'm not just out here whiffing, and what should I talk about today? Let me cook on this. No. I can tell you some things. I can share things, and I can put it together and make it very understandable and practical. It's just that there's a lot of the BS out here, and people like that because it can be entertaining. You can absorb it and this and that, but that's convenient, man. That's
Very
like
good.
eating, that's like eating microwave dinners instead of cooking a damn dinner.
I was about to say. That's exactly what I was about to say. We're in the microwave era.
Yeah. And see, I'm not about that. I'm not about that at all.
No, sir. No, sir.
What do you think about this fight that's also on the undercard, the rematch between Opataya and Breeders?
Our fellow was breaking that down to me earlier, because I vaguely remember the Apataya and Breeders' first fight, but then I think I saw the highlight. What happened? Because I'm lost. But I know
it was a tight fight. Breeders had only lost to Usyk.
Yeah.
That's who he had his first loss to. And he's a strong guy, kind of like a heavyweight version of what's the heavyweight's name from Germany, the one that Deontay was supposed to fight, but he tested positive. The one who knocked out Dillian White. What's his name?
Povetkin.
Yeah, Povetkin. The Breedis is like a heavyweight version. I mean, a cruiserweight version of Povetkin. He's strong. He's stout like that or whatever. And in their first fight, they were grappling a little bit. But Opataya, who was kind of like, he was moving around a little bit more. You know, he's a mobile fighter. He can move.
Mm-hmm.
But in the last couple of rounds, somewhere along the lines, they said it happened as early as the second round. I don't know, but it's just like the Ken Norton Ali thing. Apparently, Breedis broke Opataya's jaw. And so he fought some points of the fight with a broken jaw. He got the split decision victory. So he's had 2 title defenses since. But in the 2 title defenses, that fight against Thompson, he beat the crap out of Thompson, who was 6'6", very broad and everything. And then, of course, that guy he knocked out in the Day of Reckoning card where he knocked him out in the first round. But he has improved vastly since the fight with Breedis, man. And I'm expecting him to stop Breedis in this rematch. I think. Because Opataya has shown me something that I haven't seen from a fighter of that ilk in a while. I think he's ready for the heavyweight division because he's that strong and powerful. He reminds me of Michael Moorer when Michael Moorer was a light heavyweight, knocking guys crazy. And you know, Michael Moorer skipped the cruiserweights. He went just from light heavy to heavy. So I believe Opataya can do the same thing, and that's just a few extra pounds going from cruiser to heavy. But he reminds me, he puts me in the mind of Michael Moorer because he's strong and he's confident. He really believes in himself. I like that about him. And then he wants all the smoke too.
That was Michael Moore's death, though. He was too confident. He kept trying to eat. He got greedy.
Yeah.
George said,
yeah.
I got something for you. They told him to take his foot off the gas. We're winning this fight.
Man, let me tell you something. I remember watching that live, bro. My jaw just dropped. But I'll tell you this. I called it. When they said that, because you know Moore had won the titles from Holyfield.
Yeah.
And when they said he was gonna fight George Foreman, I was like, oh, George is getting ready to become the heavyweight champion. I was like, because Michael Moore gonna get knocked out by him. And I didn't see it coming like it came, but I just felt that George was gonna do it. And then as we got into the later rounds, I was starting to wonder. I'm like, man, is he gonna do it? But I'm gonna tell you something funny about that. George said in the post-fight, not in the ring, but in the post-fight, he said that he knew that if he hurt Michael Moorer early, like knocked him down or hit him a good punch early, he said he would get up and run away from me for the fight, you know, like Tommy Morrison did.
Mm-hmm.
So what he said he was doing, he was baiting Moore the whole time. He took power off his shots. He wasn't worried about Moore knocking him out, but he was suffering some facial damage, you know, from what was happening.
Yeah.
But he didn't feel that. In other words, he knew like if Moore came in on him and tried to go for it or whatever, he could get him off of him. You know what I'm saying? But as the rounds got late, he said he noticed that Moore wasn't moving like he was early.
He was trying to eat at the same pace.
Right.
He was like, bro, stop eating.
So,
get away from him.
So he said that he started throwing left hooks at Moore. And if you go back and watch the fight, he stopped Moore in the 10th round. But like in rounds 8 and 9, George is throwing these wide left hooks that he wasn't throwing the whole fight. He was throwing these wide left hooks. And if you remember, Michael Moore is a southpaw. So Michael, instead of ducking the hooks and slipping them and getting out the way, he was dipping forward. And so when he dipped forward, he was moving along in front of George's right hand. So George said in the 10th, he threw a 1-2, and Moore just stood there with his gloves up instead of moving. So he followed it up with a second 1-2, but he said, but when he threw the 2, he put some heat on it. Boom, right through Moore's guard, on his chin, in his mouth, knocked him smooth out. And when the camera that was over the ring showed Moore laying on his back, you could see the blood welling up in his mouth. So it wasn't a lucky sucker punch or nothing like that.
No.
George hit him with a full right hand on the chin, in the mouth, and knocked him out. And he couldn't get up. And I remember seeing that, and I was looking at it. I was like, holy smokes, George knocked him out. And, you know, because I thought it was going to happen earlier. You know what I mean? Like in 5 or 6 rounds. But no, he got him in the 10th, man. And I was like, holy smokes. He did it.
But
45 years old, became the heavyweight champion of the world.
But Stormy, I saw that because the whole fight, I said, man, Michael Moore winning, man. I was young, so I was like, Michael Moore winning. And then when I seen George, and I didn't acknowledge what you saying, that wide left hook, but he was baiting him there.
Yeah.
Right, but at the same time, when he threw that first 1-2, I looked at whoever it was sitting next to me. I said, George about to throw that same punch, that same setup again. I said, and he gonna drop him. And they was like, no, Mike winning. I said, Mike needs to let up off the gas. I was a kid yelling, said, stop trying to fight him. You're winning.
Right.
You're winning. Be the smaller dude, because I was trying to prove to somebody that the smaller guy could beat the bigger guy. And I was like, he can win. But then when it got deep, I said, when he got caught with that 1-2, I said, bro, he going to get hit with it again, and it's going to be over.
And see, that's where Evander was smart, because when it got to those later rounds with him, Evander was holding on to George. And he had said that, this cracked me up, man. Evander Holyfield is a funny dude. He said that after one of the rounds, he came back to his corner, and he thought George had knocked his teeth out. And he sit down on the stool and he asked his trainers, he was like, did he knock my teeth out? And he said the trainers, you know, they always, you know, like if you got a bad cut or something like that and you ask them like, how is it? They always tell you, oh, you're good. You know, we got this. You know, so Evander said he asked him, did he knock my teeth out? And Lou Duva was like, you're good, champ, you're good. You know, so he didn't know if they was lying to him or not. But he said his whole mouth was numb and he couldn't feel nothing. He said, I thought they was lying to me. Boy, that's funny though. You know, you hear these guys and they could tell their own, you know, little war stories and stuff. But Evander said he thought George had knocked all his teeth out because his mouth went numb when he got hit.
Hell yeah. No, man. Yeah. You know there's something right there.
But see, that's again, to watch boxing like we watch it, you know, it's like you pick up these things, you file it, and you know, like, okay, these are scenarios that can happen. This can take place. You know what I mean? I remember telling, and I told this story on one of my shows recently. In the past few months, I told this story that you know, when Roy Jones was at light heavyweight, when he first got up there and everything, you know, he's looking good, and he fought Lou Del Valle, and Lou Del Valle hit him with a 1-2 and dropped him for the first time in his pro career, right? And I don't know if that was the 6th round or 7th round or something like that.
Is that when he fell forward?
Yeah.
And they called it, but did they call that a slip?
It was a knockdown. It was a straight knockdown. Because he hit Roy, because Lou Del Valle was a southpaw. And he hit Roy with that 1-2. And Roy kind of, he did like a little stutter step, and he fell forward on the canvas. And Del Valle wasn't able to catch him with that shot again, but I remember it was like 3 rounds later or something, and they were showing him in the corner. You know, it was on HBO, so HBO always has these, you know, ring mic'd up. So Roy was telling his trainer, Alton Murkison, he was like, you know, rinsing him down, giving him his water, and he's giving Roy the instructions. And Roy was sitting there shaking his head like, man, I can't believe that sucker knocked me down. So it was like several rounds later. He's still worried about the knockdown, right? I told a buddy of mine who loved Roy Jones. I said, after seeing that, I said, when Roy lose, he gonna lose spectacularly. He was like, man, what you talking about? Ain't nobody gonna. I said, no. I said, that told me something about Roy, because, in other words, he couldn't believe it could happen to him, but he believed it's supposed to only happen to other guys. What that means is that there's an opening for somebody, because he don't think it can happen to him. See, when you know it can happen to you, you're gonna protect yourself, right?
Yep.
That's your first mind is to protect yourself. I gotta keep my chin tucked, I gotta keep my gloves up, stuff like that. Well, when you're thinking the opposite, because you're accustomed to doing it to somebody else, you're usually faster, they can't get to you, and things like that, then you begin to you begin to cut corners, and you begin to let things happen. Well, Tarver, in that second fight, when he said at the referee's instructions before the fight, you got any excuses tonight, Roy? And after that round, what was that, the third round, he knocked Roy out?
I want to say, don't give me time right now.
Well, whatever round it was, the round before, when it ended, Buddy McGirt, who was training Tarver at the time, told him, Antonio, I need you to get a little lower. You're doing good, but I need you to get lower on him. And in that next round, Tarver did exactly what he told him. He got lower, and Roy was trying to throw that check hook when Tarver was coming in, but Tarver, being that southpaw, threw his left hand. Roy was throwing that check hook. Tarver got low. That check hook went off the side of Tarver's head, and Tarver's punch went straight to his chin. Boom. Roy never saw the punch coming. And it's the punch you don't see that gets you. That's why when he went down, he tried to get up, and he stumbled into the ropes because he was dazed.
Yeah.
He was hurt because he never saw that shot coming. And that's how you get knocked out. But then when I saw my colleague that I had told him, I said, when Roy loses, he gonna lose spectacular. Boy, he was mad at me. He was like, man, you think you know something. I said, listen, man. I said, I'm not professing to be a know-it. It's like there are things that I'm paying attention to here. I can't describe it to you, but I'm telling you that when I say these things, it's like I say them with purpose, because there's something about that. And that window was open for him, and Tarver took it. And then Glenn Johnson took it. You know what I'm saying? It's like it wasn't like all of a sudden Roy just fell apart. Some people say, well, when he went up to heavyweight and came back down, I believe that still could have happened to him if he didn't go up to heavyweight.
But he didn't have the same resistance, because he went up, came back down too fast. He was fluffy. So I give him that. But my thing about Roy, his check hook is not like a Floyd check hook. He almost alligator arms it, and he looks away as he does it. So Tarver was smart enough to pick up on that, because Roy was never going to see that punch because he's looking away.
Roy always did that. That was one of his flaws. Do you know how he used to, when he used to get up against the ropes and he would put his arms straight up like this, almost like he's putting his arms, like his wrists, on the other guy's shoulders? Do you remember when he used to do that all the time?
Yeah.
I was like, somebody gonna get him, because that's where Glenkoff got him. Because he was trying to do that. He was backing up near those ropes, and Glenkoff came around those gloves. But it's like, again, usually what happens is, like, when it happens once, either a guy will get back on what he's supposed to be on, or that becomes the beginning of the end, because a punch like that gets through, you're never the same.
Nope.
Michael Nunn was never the same after James Toney knocked him out. And the worst part about that was Angelo Dundee was telling Michael Nunn, listen, just boxing, baby. You're so much faster and everything. Stay outside. Stop leaning in with him. Stop laying in inside and everything. And Nunn just shaking his head like this, and goes right out there and keep doing the same thing. And James Toney lit his ass up. Yep.
like what you were saying about Roy with the reaching out to the shoulders. You
Yeah.
know the punch I'm a fan of, Stormy. I know I like body punches, but I love punching the solar plex.
Oh
If I
yeah.
can get you in the solar plex, and then like in the creases of where the shoulder and the chest pectoral area connects.
Yep.
I'll do all of that stuff up and then the back of your elbows and the inside of your wrists. I would purposely punch on those because if I can open your hands up, if I can drop your arms down, and if I can get you breathing a little heavier sooner from punching you in the solar plexus.
Yep. And if you could punch, like say a guy is a orthodox, you're two orthodox guys. If a guy throws a right hand and you could throw a left hook under that right hand to the floating rib, that's usually a knockout or knockdown body shot. You know why?
It really is.
Do you know why?
Because those two floater ribs pinch together.
Not only that, but it's something very precise that you're probably not thinking of. Think again. Why would it be?
Because if they're floating, they've separated from the body, so it's a shock when they come back when they retract.
That happens, but there's something else you're not thinking about. Let me help you.
You gotta help me.
Let me help you. This is what it is. No. Seriously, when I say it, you're gonna be like, "Oh, damn, that's obvious." But yeah, when you punch in boxing, when you punch, you are trained to do what?
Tense up.
No.
Well, breathe. Yeah.
There you go.
You breathe. Yeah,
You
when
exhale.
breathe,
You exhaling. So what happens is you throw that right hand, I throw that left hook under that right hand. You've exhaled. Now I hit you in the body. That's a double entendre. You exhaled, then you getting the air knocked out of you again.
Man, because you're not be able to bounce it back. Nope. But yeah.
You see what I'm saying?
But I didn't learn. Look, I didn't learn that in boxing. I had learned that when I teetered off into the MMA world. They said if you pinch them, you catch them floater ribs, you pinch them, they gonna go down. And they was just saying in that offer in the instance of they were throwing a punch at you.
But it's the exhaling factor. It's the exhaling factor. It's just like in football when you get tackled and you fall on top of the ball and they knock the wind out of you.
Yeah.
Now you're not injured for the game, but you need to come out for a play or two till you get your air back.
Hell yeah.
You know what I mean? It'd be like, hey man, what happened to the hammer? Oh, he got the wind knocked out of him. He go out, he's out for like 2 or 3 plays, then he come back in. But yeah, when you fall on that ball and they tackle you and that air go out your body, you might as well be dead for 2 minutes because it's like you can't breathe. So
you gonna catch hell trying to catch that breath in boxing because if time ain't on your side.
Exactly. And you only got 10 seconds to get up inside a count. So it's like that, that's a telltale moment right there. But see, that's exactly what we're talking about, the science. See what it means when you're able to put these things together. Because how many people are thinking about that when they're watching a fight? They're not. But as a coach and trainer and a mentor, you know these things. These are the things that you teach your charges, and they are supposed to be able to carry that with them when they're in live action. Because when you know these things, you can think about executing it. You know what I'm saying? I'm going to set him up. Yep. Again, if you're being taught, your tool bag is full. If you're not being taught, you're just out there and you're a situation waiting to happen.
Mm-hmm.
But I talk about this. This is why I say, the things that I talk about, man, they're from a different place. That's why I don't have no problems when I talk to the other trainers and stuff. We speak the same language.
Yeah.
So yeah. But any other thoughts, bro? Any other thoughts you got while we on?
What else we got? We got Fury and Usyk, and I wasn't keeping up too much with the card. And then not too much on the circus with Jake Paul and Mike Tyson, but to tap in on that real quick, Mike Tyson pointed out something to Jake Paul. He was like, this kid's supposed to be in his prime right now. He's fat. And Jake Paul doesn't look like he's in actual boxing shape like he was the last fight he had. I don't know if he's taking Mike lightly, but like you said, it doesn't matter about the age. If I can find my timing, and I see that you're still a novice at this, we may see them. I'm not saying Mike gonna win, or because I really don't really care too much about it. But if I do look off into it, Mike is gonna rock this kid. Mike,
Yeah.
I believe Mike is gonna be able to. You know what I'm saying, he's gonna catch that timing, and he's gonna see the major mistakes that Jake Paul still makes because he's fancying his own work. He takes pictures when he throws punches.
Right.
Mike knows this. He poses. Let Mike be close enough in range and catch that time, and while Jake Paul is posing after he throws a punch.
Yeah.
We may see Jake Paul get on his bicycle for the rest of that fight, or until he get his faculties back in order.
Right.
So, like I said, I don't really want to entertain it because people are asking me about it. I said, this is a damn near 60-year-old man. This is a bag chase for him. And Mike Tyson said, he said, I'm robbing the bank right now. Because I've been in with guys that have hit 10 times harder than you, so I'm not worried about losing to this kid or worrying about what this kid could possibly do. I'm robbing the bank right now.
Yeah.
Thank you. So, that's why I won't entertain it when people at my job ask me, who's going to win? Who's going to win? I really don't care, but at the same time, when you look at the aesthetics of it, Mike's timing and the amateurish ways of Jake Paul and wanting to be a showman. He wants to be a showman, but he hasn't finished his lessons yet. If you haven't finished your lessons, you have to go out here and kill what you eat, and then if you want to perform and show off, do it. He
Right.
wants to perform and build the fight, bro. The fight is built. Mike Tyson's name alone and the problem child sold that. So you don't have to point finger guns at anybody or try to intimidate Mike. It don't work.
Yeah.
'Cause he-
Yeah.
But other than that, I'm looking forward to all the fights that we got coming up. I laughed at the Blair Cobb and Adrian Broner press conference because Blair Cobb actually went and invested money in having somebody made an Adrian Broner doll, a puppet.
Oh man, I didn't see that.
Bro, Adrian Broner couldn't. You know how Adrian Broner gets up and talks his shit. He couldn't get on his square the way he wanted to because every time he said something, the puppet was talking.
I'm gonna have to go back and watch that.
And then after the press conference, Blair Cobb reaches over and grabs Adrian Broner's stomach, and you can see the fat in his hand as he grabs. He said, "Man, you still fat."
Wow. That's crazy, man. That is crazy. One thing about Blair Cobb, he's good for boxing because he's an entertaining personality. That
Yeah.
you need guys like that because that's what makes it. It's humorous and everything. If he could really fight, he'd be something. But
Yeah.
but he is definitely an entertaining guy. One fight on this card that we shouldn't forget about is Ajit Kabayel is taking on Frank Sanchez. Dude,
Oh yeah.
that's a damn good heavyweight fight because
Frank might lose this one, man. Frank might lose this one.
it's 50-50 because
Yeah.
they're both 24-0.
Uh-huh.
Frank Sanchez got 17 knockouts. Kabayel got 16 knockouts.
Mm-hmm.
But they're both 24-0. So, hey, man.
This is gonna be a good one.
Yeah. So, it's some good fights. It's some good fights. And I'm looking forward to it, I like that, though. I like that.
Yeah, because I forgot all about that. Yeah, and as soon as I heard about it, I said, I don't know, because I said, because Frank Sanchez, I don't know how old he is, because you know how the Cubans are. You really don't know how
Yeah,
old
they say
really
he's
are.
31. Dude, that dude might be 41,
That's what I'm saying, yeah. And the thing about it, I think his resume, based on how he's had his previous fights, he's played down too much, and I think he's plateaued.
Yeah.
And I hate to say that about a Cuban fighter because of their boxing prowess. And it's just the fact that I think he has played down too long, and I think his wave has been missed.
Yeah. See, his time to really do something was a couple years ago when he took care of what's his name? The big dude. You know what I'm talking about? The Nigerian dude.
F.A.?
Yeah, F.A. When he got F.A., he should have been pushing for a fight against one of the big guys right then and there, but they didn't do that. They kind of just let him cool off and everything. And that was, what, 3 years ago now?
Yeah, I think he missed it, man.
Yeah. And Cabiel, he showed me something in there against that big guy, because a lot of guys would not have taken that fight, but the way he fought him, he exploited all his weaknesses perfectly. And that let me know that he's a smart fighter. You know what I'm saying? It's like, it wasn't that he stopped the guy. It was great that he stopped the guy. But it was like he took advantages of the weaknesses that were there and exploited it, and those body shots and everything. I mean, to take a big dude out like that with body shots, he could take an average guy out with body shots. You know what I'm saying? So it's like there's some good stuff happening there. I said that in that fight, he reminded me of Ray Mercer, how he was fighting. When Ray Mercer lured Tommy Morrison into that situation, and he had, man, that was like, but, you know, and I think that Tommy Morrison on that night would have knocked out a lot of guys. But Ray Mercer, the fact that he could take a shot like he could, and then Morrison got tired, that was it, bro.
Yeah, man. Hey, but Stormy, I know you. I don't know if you want to wrap it up, because I don't have too much more. You know what I'm saying? I'm just trying to say, like right now, I'm wrapping up my at work right now, about to head up out of my office.
Yeah.
But I'm sitting there trying to rack my brain, because I'm thinking about boxing going forward right now. Like, I know we got the Tank fight coming up. We got several fights coming up, and when I guess, you know what I'm saying, when I catch your show, you know what I'm saying, you put that number up, expect my call, and we're gonna chop it up about, you know what I'm saying, fights.
Yeah, absolutely, man. You're more than welcome. You know, I welcome your call and everything, and I respect your knowledge on the sport. You know, you're a person that can talk the X's and O's and, you know, talk deeper on the depths of the sport as well. So, you know, I have an appreciation for that. Much respect.
And I respect you too, Champ. You know what I'm saying? Because you actually, when I hear you speak and when I give my takes, it's like sometimes you fill my gaps, and I can appreciate that, because it may be something I know I may have missed, because of you've seen a lot more boxing than me, and I'm saying, like, far as actually being able to digest it. You know what I'm saying? In its physical presence, like the old school days. Me, I got to go back and search it and look it. You actually had a good vantage point, and you actually were around a lot of guys that actually talked it, like the great Kurt Sugar.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah.
And like I used to love listening to you guys, and I was like, man, I want to talk to these guys, but at the same time, I'm not gonna say I felt intimidated, because no man intimidates me. But at the same time, I'm like, I don't feel I deserve to sit at that table yet. I said I gotta listen, because you guys wasn't just talking boxing. You guys were actually talking the history of it, and actually digging deep into it, and actually telling stories that made a lot of this stuff relevant to, you know, that's relevant today, and why we have things in the systems that we have when it comes to boxing.
Right.
I don't check boxes off. I worry about what goes off inside that square circle. As soon as they get in the ring, that first bell, that's when I want to talk.
Right. Yeah, I got you. Well, yeah, man, you know, make sure that, like I said, you know, and of course I got the Sunday morning call-ins, but I just thought I would open the line tonight because of this particular subject. I dedicated this entire Friday night chop session to, you know, to this fight card for tomorrow, because I know other people ain't talking about it. And see, we done talked about some of the other fights that's on the card and everything, whereas some guys have just kind of ventured on in a different direction. So I appreciate you coming on and assisting me with being able to do that, man. This is a good show, and people can go back and catch the replay and hear some great conversation on this, not only this card, but on the other subjects that we touched on during this conversation.
Yep.
Yeah. All right, man. So you take it easy, man, and enjoy the fights tomorrow. And I'll be out there with you guys. You know, we'll see what's happening.
You come back tomorrow?
Huh?
You gonna come backstage tomorrow?
Yeah, I'm gonna try to. You know, when the fight was originally scheduled for February, and you know, I had tried to order it like I don't remember when Fury got the cut, right? I had ordered the fight like a day or so before that, and so I tried, because they you know, the fight was all, at the moment it was canceled, so I was like, I'll try and get my money back, right? So I was in that apparatus trying to get my money back, and then they rescheduled the fight, and those people, they told me that they were gonna refund me my money, but when the fight got rescheduled for this date of tomorrow, it shows up on my DAZN as purchased. I'm like, they didn't refund my money. they just kept it for the future date, man. I'm like, what the hell? So, you know, I do have it purchased. So, you know, that's the thing I'm saying. But I'm like, man, what the hell? It's like, what are they doing? It's like, they ain't supposed to do that. If you ask for a refund, they supposed to give you a damn refund.
No, you in here. You locked in. The only way you getting out is by watching.
Exactly. But I ain't never doing that no more. I will wait, like, you know, if it's a fight card I'm going to pay for, I'm going to wait till like 24 hours before the fight. I'm never going to do that, because I would think that was like 2 weeks before the fight or something when Fury got the cut. It's always something with him too, ain't it? With his big fights. He always pulling this kind of crap, man. There's something up with that, with this guy.
2 years ago, I titled that the Gypsy Games. It's the Gypsy Games. I'm going to play something. Don't think it's going to go smooth all the way to the ring. There's something going to happen before we get here.
Yep.
I'm going to play some games.
He does that a lot, man. It's like Mike 202 is out there in the chat. He says, prepaid fight. Yeah, they got me, Mike 202. They got me on that one, man.
Yeah, we got you, man. You've been here.
But yeah, hey, man, thank you so much for joining me this evening, man. I appreciate you, KG.
And I appreciate you, too.
All right, man. You have a good one.
You too.
Peace. Man, that was a great call. KG made the show, man. We got an excellent conversation going through that. But man, oh man, they got me. DAZN got me on that one, man. They got my money. I'm like, they was supposed to refund my damn money, and they kept it. It's like, nah. Who the daddy? they pull that gangster on me, man. I'm like, man, they ain't gonna get me no more with that. I can guarantee you that. They ain't getting me no more with that. But yeah, while we at this, man, let me go ahead and get ready to do some things here. Appreciate everybody that was out there in the chat, man. You guys were holding it down in the chat while we were conversing. Let's hear from my man, the Focus Ball. Yeah.
Get ready to take your striking game to the next level with the Focus Ball. Dramatically improved footwork, timing, head movement, hand-eye coordination, reflex, and overall fight IQ. It's lightweight and extremely portable, so you can train every time, everywhere. When you don't have a coach to do mitt work, get a Focus Ball. When you don't have a heavy bag to hit, get a Focus Ball. When you don't have a sparring partner, get yourself a Focus Ball. And when you just want to have fun punching and kicking, get a Focus Ball. When you train with the Focus Ball, you train your eyes and your brain to read punches so that you can hit and not get hit. making this very simple device a must-have for all combat sports athletes and enthusiasts alike. So if you want to take your striking game to the next level, don't wait. Get the Focus Ball now.
offer the best grooming clothes for you. Dress so natural and handcrafted too. We wanna help be a swagger. The style, class, and luxury. Make our products that are made for you with high quality. Yeah, so get in style with the black, yeah. Company, give you swagger, style, class, and luxury. In luxury, yeah. The black, gentleman, black, yeah. Company, give you swagger, style, class, and luxury. In luxury, yeah.
Located at www.theblackgent.com.
Yeah. Make sure you get you some of this merchandise, man. That's what's up. The code for the Black Gentleman's Grooming Company for the 10% off. You enter Stormybman, and the shareable link is in the description box for the show this evening. So make sure you go down there. The Focus Ball link is there, and the link for the official Stormybman merchandise is all down there in the description box. So just know that we're out here, and we as a community are doing it up, especially for you guys. So with that being said, we're going to get ready to round it out for this evening. I want to say shout out to the mighty LDBC. Everybody that tuned in this evening and decided to smash the like button and stay along for the journey, because it was quite a show this evening. This show turned out a lot stronger than I had hoped. So I thank you all who were out there riding with me on this, and just know that we try to do the best we can. You know what I mean? And we had some good information out there too for this evening's broadcast. So hope you guys who are going to tune in and check the fights out tomorrow, that you enjoy them, and carry some of the information that Stormy shared with you for this evening on what to look for, for the fights. So we're going to get on up out of here. Peace to everybody and enjoy this fight weekend.
What do you think of Negro?
As good as any white man.